Hi friends, this is your plant lover Neil and you are watching Plants My Love. In this video, I'll show you how to grow coleus from cutting. It will be a 3-month worth of update video. We'll start with plant information where we'll cover about a brief history of how the different varieties of coleus that we see today have come, and then we'll talk about what weather is required for growing coleus, what is the ideal temperature, and at what extreme temperatures the coleus does not perform well. Then we will cover about how to create the cuttings from the coleus, what is the exact length that is required, from where you have to cut it, at what angle you have to cut it. I've used water propagation, so I'll be talking about how much length of the cutting has to be put in water, how long you have to place it, what is the growing conditions for the cutting. So all this is coming up, so stay tuned. Coleus, a tropical plant which can be either perennial or annual depending on where you grow it, belongs to the mint family, and as you can see, this beautiful looking plant is renowned for its ornamental properties. Initially, Coleus plant did not have so much variety in leaf colors, but they were artificially bred and different varieties were developed late in the 19th century, and today there are several varieties as you can see in the Coleus species. These are native to the Southeast Asia. Also, some areas of Australia have this natively. The ideal growing climate is between 21 to 35 degrees Celsius. It cannot tolerate very cold climate or even mild cold climates. Like if the temperature in the night goes below 10 degrees, then it might die. So in the colder regions, this plant is grown as an annual, and every year either it's propagated via seed or grown from cuttings that are taken during the beginning of this winter season. In our area, it becomes quite hot, around 45 degrees centigrade. At that temperature, also coleus is very difficult to survive if you have placed it where it receives quite a bit of sunlight. These plants grow best when you provide it indirect bright light. The leaf color will have the brightest colors, and if you grow it in direct sunlight, then sometimes the leaf colors might fade away because of the intensity of the light. So if your garden area where it receives just the morning sun, afternoon is completely shaded, then this particular location would be best for growing it. They are usually not very tall, around 1 meter. Some species are around 2 meters tall, but usually they grow in small, compact, and they will become bushy if you prune it properly. This is the coleus plants which I have got at my home, and I'll be creating cuttings from this plant. So the ideal length for the cutting is around 4 to 6 inches in length. So take a 4 to 6 inch length cutting and cut just below the leaf node from where the leaf or branch is coming. So just cut below that area, and ideally you should cut around an angle of 45 degrees. This increases the chances of root development. Then after cutting, you can remove the lower branches and leaves, and also if the plant has got some blooms or buds, you can remove them at this stage. Just leave the upper 2 to 3 leaves. This much is good enough for propagating the cutting. I'll make couple of more cuttings in the same manner, and you do not worry, your mother coleus plant will not die. If you prune it like this, then it will become even more bushier. I'll show you an update of the mother plant also. After 3 months, you'll come to know how the plant became even beautiful than what it is at present. So similarly, we'll do this for the remaining cuttings. Make sure to put all the cuttings in water as soon as you cut it. That way it will remain fresh. Now I'll be propagating it in water. I'll be using water propagation because I find the water propagation quite convenient, as it does not require me to monitor the moisture of the cutting medium. But if you grow it in soil, it might be faster, but you will have to monitor closely the soil moisture levels, and it might become messy for growing multiple cuttings in the same soil medium. When you want to transplant it, will become very difficult to transplant. So because of those reasons, I prefer propagating in water and then later on transplanting the successful cuttings in soil. So this way it's quite convenient, even if it takes around 15 days more for the plant to stabilize and grow properly. So I'll be growing it in this growing container that I've created using old plastic bottles. I have created multiple holes for the placing the cuttings, as you can see, and I have added one funnel which allows me to pour in water. Also, cap is used for draining the water when it has to be replaced. So this container is quite convenient for growing cuttings with minimum use of water, as the closed environment decreases the amount of water loss due to evaporation. Also, it reduces the chances of any dirt falling into the medium, and this medium allows enough amount of stem to be dipped in water. Ideally, it should be around 1 to 2 inch length of stem, and you can use any other container if you don't have such kind of container. The main condition, it should provide support to the cutting, and it should allow the cutting to dip around 1 to 2 inch in water. Also, it should be easy to change the water. The most important thing apart from making the cuttings while propagating plants is the growing environment in which you place it. The ideal growing temperature is around 25 to 30 degrees centigrade, and at the most the temperature can go up to 35 degrees centigrade. But if you're propagating the plant above 35 degrees centigrade, there are very high chances that the cutting will fail. So I'll now close the bottle like that, and now I'll pour the water. After temperature comes the light. This is also very important. Your cutting should be placed in such a place where it receives bright indirect light. You do not want to place the cutting in direct sunlight. If you place it in that kind of environment, it will quickly dry out. I grew around 4 cuttings, and out of the 4, 3 were successful. So I got around a 75% success rate. This is an update after 15 days. So this is the result. You can see I'll remove the cuttings and show you the root growth. I was expecting more root growth. If you have checked my growing guide of a basil from water propagation, you will see the amount of root growth is quite good for basil plant. But I don't know why for this particular variety of Coleus, the root did form, but it did not grow that much. So I was expecting more root growth, but the root stagnated after around a week or so. And you can see over here it started to get some kind of fungal infection. So that's why I thought that it's better now to transplant it in soil to prevent any disease. I'll place it in the water so that it does not dehydrate till the time I remove all other cuttings. So this is also similar kind of root development is there. It's a bit better than the first one, but you can see the roots have not grown very long. So this is the second one. One of the cutting failed, and you can it was attacked by the same black mold fungus, which is visible in these cuttings also. But fortunately, these did survive. So this is the last one. You can see this also has got root growth, but as all like the other two, though, this also has got limited amount of root development. And some of the leaves have wilted. You can simply remove the wilted leaves so that it does not hinder the plant. Now we will transplant the cuttings into the soil. So these are the growing mediums I have taken. So these are very small pots, around 4 inches approximately, and this is just for initial root development I'm using them, after which you can transplant it. So using this tool I will be making holes for the cuttings to be placed in. So the soil medium is around 50% garden soil and 50% homemade compost. I'll now place it in these holes. You can place it deeper because the roots will form all along the stem. So you can place the cutting as deep as possible and then cover it up firmly. Not press too hard on the stem. Make sure to be as gentle as possible. Now make sure that you water them thoroughly after transplantation so that there are no air pockets remaining. So I'll water them. This is an update after 3 months. You can see this is the cutting that I had transplanted in a bigger pot, and after 3 months this cutting was overdue for transplanting in bigger pot, but I didn't transplant it, so that's why the cutting has not grown that big. But the other 2 cuttings, and I had given it to some of my family friends, so I cannot show you the video, but all of them were of the same size. And this is the update of the mother plant which we had cut from. You can see how much big and bushy it has become. I'll show you the cut point that I had used for propagating it. You can see over here, this is from where I had used it to grow my cuttings. and you can see there are so many branches now available which we can again use for growing more cuttings. So you'll get an infinite amount of plants from a single plant. I hope friends you love this video. If yes, smack that like button. Share this video with your friends and family whom you think could benefit from it. And don't forget to subscribe our channel Plants My Love if you'd like to see more such videos in the future. Thanks for watching friends. See you later. Bye.